Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for Tower of God Chapter 448, or Season 3, Episode 31. I totally loved it. Yama versus Khel Hellam. It's awesome, it's great. I love both of their characters from a character standpoint, and they're two of the strongest we've seen in the series, but I'll talk more about that as we get into the review and everything. This one might be a little on the shorter side again. I don't know, depends on how much I want to gush over the things I like here. Because it was a mostly combat chapter, but oh man, the combat was so good. So I love this fight so far. Just jumping straight into it, Yama and Khel Hellam are both awesome on a character level. They're both really sort of nuanced and they have some depth to them. They have some interesting bits with their motivations and everything, and I really like all of that. But also, Yama's one of the stronger characters we've seen. It makes sense. He's a slayer. He is meant to one day slay one of the 10 family heads. Makes sense. But in addition to that, I would argue, after reading this, so there was a comment recently, I think it was just last week, maybe last week's review, maybe live reaction, but probably review, where somebody asked if I thought that Yama would beat Calavan in a fight, or who I thought was stronger between the two, and I was like, we don't really know. Calavan is incredibly, incredibly strong, but we don't know. Between him and Yama, we would have to see more, I would think. But I can say that Khel Hellam is like maybe the strongest character we've seen, aside from Yurik Mazano or Zahard himself. Aside from like big boy Uruk Mazano and Zahard, I think Khel Hellam's the strongest. Khel Hellam is ridiculous. Their attacks are like covering so much of the cage, and like so many people are like trying to hold off their attacks from damaging things and stuff. And in addition to that, Karaka's not doing too much at the moment, but they're fighting against full Susanoo Evenkel and complete transformation Yama at the same time. They're fighting against like rank 60, I think Evenkel is. Rank 60 and freaking Baylord Yama in his full complete transformation, who even people in the top 200s are pissing their pants over. Fighting both of them, and he's sitting here thinking about how he has to hold back. He's thinking about, man, I can't waste too much of my energy because I gotta go fight a squadron of Zahard after this, after we saw how tough a squadron of Zahard can potentially be. God, Khel Hellam is just all the hype. Just maybe the most powerful we've seen behind Yurik and Zahard. And that's that we've seen. Like, I know we kind of had Data Edwan from when he was younger, and we had kind of a flashback Rie Hone, but of the ones we've actually seen, possibly the strongest. So, absolute insanity. So cool. So yeah, first the fight starts off with Yama using the left arm. He's like, well, this is complete transformation, but I'm gonna have to activate like one body part at a time, and by the time I'm fully, completely transformed, you're gonna be scared of me. And Khel Hellam's pretty much just like, no, I'm not. But he uses his left arm first. We have this insane clash of powers. I love how Khel Hellam's abilities look as well. The way they're these Shinsu arrows that the roots and the plant-like structures spin off of. It's really, really cool. So it has both the Shinsu sort of esqueness. I wanted to say Shinsu quality, but then that kind of is confusable with Shinsu quality. But it has this Shinsu-ness to it. But also it still is the plant elemental. It's really cool. I love the way it looks, and the way he uses arrows and stuff is relatively unique. Also, Yama's transformed attacks look great too. I think his transformed arm looks great and everything. His attacks look cool. I like those two floaty wing fang things around him. I really like those a lot. So, yeah, also both of their defensive maneuvers, when Yama was blocking the, he blocked this rain of the arrows and then pushed through it into an attack of his own, and then Khel Hellam busts out this huge round defensive explodey arrow, and both of their sort of defensive moves they used were really cool. I think the choreography of them fighting back and forth was really cool. Like, there was some smartness to it. It wasn't like a straight up hand-to-hand fight, yet it also didn't feel like them just lobbing giant Shinsu attacks back and forth. Even though that kind of is what they were doing, it didn't feel like that. It felt like there was some definite strategy behind their movements and stuff, which was cool. So before we cut away, before we sort of stop with the fight bits, we have Yama being like, right arm's next, bud, and starts activating his right arm. And I love that this is where we get Khel Hellam being fully confident, being like, yeah, if I fight like full on, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna beat you. I just don't want to injure myself. I don't want to waste time and energy when I still need to go fight a squadron of Zahard with the K9 People Army after this. And he mentions she is waiting for me. Now, I mentioned that could be an issue with the translation, but that could be an issue with the translation because, like I said, in Korean, like, gender-specific terms aren't used very often, like, at all, which is something I've learned from reading Tower of God for a while. So that could just be an issue with translation, or he could legit be going there because of some woman. Who knows? He mentions, or to himself, that now that he's further away from Bomb, he can see Destiny again. And people have brought up in the comments and such that Zahard was also another character that talked about being able to see Destiny. So that's interesting. I wonder if it's one of those things where it's anything similar to what a guide can do, or if what he means by seeing Destiny is, and what Zahard meant by seeing Destiny, could be like they are so strong and powerful and good at reading Shinsu by this point that they can basically read what's going to happen around them. Because, like, it's one of those things where, like, if you knew your statistics or probabilities well enough, you would know with good probability what would be the next thing to happen. Maybe they're just so insanely good at reading Shinsu that they have a good idea of what's going to be happening, their so-called destiny, but because Bomb is an irregular and breaks those rules, they can't really read it with that kind of certainty when he's around. Now, that's just one interpretation that I'm theorizing as a maybe, but in general, it could just be something similar to what guides do. So let's see, where were we next? Kanzone comes in, destroys Michael's ship to save Kunai Agnes, and Kanzone looked useful. He didn't look useless like before I was saying. So if Kanzone doesn't show back up, then it's just like Gato came over and is fighting Bomb and Kanzone is completely useless. But I like this. Kanzone destroying them instead of just sitting and watching and letting this happen in order to gather information makes Kanzone seem smart and useful. What's going on in the Cocoon of Doom's ability with Bomb and Gato is that the Red Thrissa has the power to block Gato, but Bomb himself can't keep up with Gato's speed, which is a really interesting way of doing things. Or riding things, rather. So Evan Kell comes over the pocket to tell Bomb, hey, training's done, use the Thorn, training suspended, just go all out. So we get a flashback there at the end. The Zero stuff I was asked about in the comments, and honestly the Zero stuff isn't totally clear, really. Like we saw earlier in the arc, the concept behind it was if you empty yourself, if you clear yourself, take yourself back to nothing, then you'll be able to grow faster and stronger and reach the upper limits of martial arts. The science, the Tower of God science behind that isn't incredibly clear, but still, that's just what we know so far. So we learn a bit about the reason that this guy never became a rancor. We knew before that he didn't. But the reason he didn't become a rancor is because he thought that gaining power would corrupt him. So he thought that if he kept seeking power, the power he sought would eventually corrupt him. But he looks at Bomb and says, you know what? You deserve power, because he sees that Bomb has so much power, yet Bomb has no intention to use that power wickedly. Bomb has no intention to use that power in a harmful way toward others. So, again, that's really cool. really interesting, I think. And it fits in a lot with things we saw previously in the series. I mentioned it in the live reaction, where way back at the beginning, Andrasi was saying you have to step on others to go forward. To climb, you gotta climb on others' backs. We saw it a little bit from, I think Kun and Dan said similar things toward the beginning of Season 2. We had toward the beginning of Season 2 Bomb stuck in a sort of situation like that with Wangnan, where Wangnan was struggling, and Wangnan's like, I can't just sacrifice other people and be some heartless, cold person to keep climbing. We saw it even further with Bomb's personal conundrum during the Name Hunt station, where Warrion had told him, get yourself allies that you can leave behind, because eventually you're going to be godlike, and you're going to have to leave them behind. And Bomb had this moment where he was like, I can't do it. I can't be a god if that's what it means. And Kunagro Agnes was the one that was like, well, then you don't have to be a god. Just be you. So I like that all of this fits coherently into Bomb's overall story of growth. Is that he gains this power and gains this power, but where other people have to do wicked things to gain the power, to seek the power, Bomb has no intention of doing those things, so it's okay for him to seek being stronger, because he doesn't have any bad intentions with that strongerness. So yeah, in general, I like that the Bomb stuff was logical and coherently fit in his overall story. I like that Kanzone didn't seem useless, and Yama and Khel Hellam they are just too good. I love them both so much. As a score, I'd give it 9 plant arrow barrages out of 10, and I realized while recording this earlier on in the review, I wonder if you saw the look of, shit, come over my face, but I didn't even read the blog this week. So give me a second. I'm going to take a jump cut to pull the blog up, and I'll read it and talk about it right here at the end of this video now that I've finished with that. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Is that what I gave this? Yeah, 9 out of 10. Loved it. It's great. So yeah, let me go pull up the blog really quick. Alright, just read through the blog really quick. So 3 things I think are important to draw from it really quickly is that he brings up that Yama going through his full metamorphosis seems to give him great power, but also a great burden and pain. So that's why he sort of goes complete transformation, but he doesn't go full all out from the beginning. He has to kind of build up to it over time, which is why he's just activating a part at a time, gaining more strength, but it becomes more of a burden and pain on him. So I think that that's interesting. I didn't really catch that from the chapter itself, so it does add a little bit of nuance for me. In addition to that, brings up that, of course, Bomb is plot armored. He's the main character. But he's like, him surviving against a high ranker this long is completely crazy, but there's also the fact that it's because Gato, for various reasons, can't properly just go in and kill him. And also, even with the Thorn, Bomb is still like way underleveled for this. He is way outmatched here, even with all the progress he's made. So again, it's whatever. I like it. I like that Bomb does still have a lot of room to grow, but at this point, it's like, at this point the toothpaste is out of the tube. We can't go back and say that, okay, they can't deal with rancor level threats or anything. They're massively underleveled compared to rancor level threats and everything. But at the same time, I would have liked this to have hit this point around like the 80s or 90s in floor level rather than down in the 40s and 50s. But it is what it is. Toothpaste out of the tube. And of course, hearing that the protagonist has plot armor is like not a surprise. It shouldn't be something very obvious, that's for damn sure, but it's not a surprise. Let's see, anything else here? Oh yeah, he mentioned that the stuff at the ending, the flashback-ish stuff, was added in to the final version from the preview service version, but of course he mentions that he does that a lot here and there when he feels like he can sort of stretch a chapter out more or throw in a little bit more, throw in some flashbacks in order to give some more context to things. He brings up that he does that quite a bit. So yeah, I guess that's where I'll end here. So I hope you did enjoy the video, And if you like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it and everything. I'm really excited to see more of Yama and Khel Hellam, but the Bomb and Gato stuff, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna enjoy it for what it is. Storytelling wise, it's pretty coherent with how things have gone. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that all goes, what it's all gonna be like for the future. I'm excited to see what's gonna go down with Yama and Khel Hellam most of all, I think, because it feels like Khel Hellam has to lose here. On the one hand, he has kind of maybe noble reasons for doing what he's doing, and maybe Bomb and Yama and them, they need to go prevent Zahard's forces from attacking this place. And yet at the same time, it also feels like Khel Hellam can't just be like, hey, you know what? I'll forgive you. Everybody, come work with me. He might just end up doing that. If Bomb is able to save Doom, then he might just be like, screw it, I failed. Hey, help me out here, I'll stop trying to kill you. Or just stop trying to enslave you. Just help me go fight this squadron. And they might actually agree to it. But it kind of doesn't feel like that's the way the story's going. The way it feels like the story is going is that he's going to be defeated some way or another. But he's so powerful that I'm not 100% how. Maybe Bomb will throw off his senses and then Yama will be able to full power through and get a hit on him. No clue. But yeah, either way, I was saying like and comment and subscribe for more to be updated on when new videos are posted. Follow on Twitter if you want for updates or to talk there. And if you want to talk to me or more of us on the Discord server, just ask and I can give you a link to that. Also, if you would like to support the channel on Patreon, make it so that I can continue making Tower of God videos, then patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description. Thank you for watching, though. Once again, share it around with friends. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching, though, and I'll see you all next time.